Hi everyone, in this given problem statement, we have to construct a quad tree. So given an n cross n matrix grid of zeros and ones, we want to repeat or want to present the grid into a quad tree. So what is a quad tree, right? So here there are two conditions, okay? So the value would be tree if the node represents in the grids of ones or false if the node represents in grids of zero. So basically, right, the idea is that if you can look into this one, right? So we are going to have the values. So let's say this would be n cross n. So we are going to divide it into four parts. Okay. So our root, we are going to have root, which is going to have value, and we are going to have is leaf. I could have added a bit. So initially, right, is leaf is going to be false. And here, right, we are going to divide it into four parts. And to divide it, right, we are going to use divide and conquer algorithm. With the help of recursion, you can do it. So there would be four parts. Okay. So here, right, the first is this top left or the part on the green right. This is the entire one. The other would be top right, which is this entire part. Then there would be another which is going to be bottom left on the side part, and there would be another which would be bottom right. Okay, so now the condition is that here, right, we are going to divide this entire grid into four parts, and as you could see, right, the initial part, right, on this side is going to be like from 0 0 to n by 2 and n by 2. Similarly, right, it would be 0 n by 2 to n by 2 n by 2. So in this way it is going to work, right? So we are going to get the number of values out here. Also, one thing to understand, right, if all of the values are same in that division, right, then we can safely say we can say or we can say the value to be 1, and I can say is leaf to be true. This is not correct. I mean, this is correct in a sense, but here, right, it is all the values are not same. Okay, so we are going to do further division. So of this matrix, right, we're going to do further division. So here, right, we are going to add what is the initial value. So I can say val to be 1 and is leaf to be 0 out here. Similarly on the bottom left, right, so here is leaf is true or 1, I can say it's false, means you can add anyway. And the value, right, all of them are 1, so value would be 1 out here. And on the bottom left, it is also is leaf. So we are able to understand, right, how can we get is leaf. So in this particular division grid, right, if all the values are same, then we can say it is leaf. Okay, so is leaf would be true and the value would be 0 out here. So once that is done, right, now we are at the top right. So top right, right, all the values are not same. So here, right, we are going to do further division and keep on dividing. Here after a point, right, if I divide it, I'm going to get the values as same, means 4 values, and here I'm going to get the value. In case, right, it was like, let's say it would all the values would have not been same, right, then we can have to split it and do divide and conquer and write it again. So here also we are going to have 4 parts: top left, top right, bottom left, and bottom right. Here all the values, right, is going to be is leaf, because this smaller part, right, it is all the values are same. So I can say is leaf to be true or 1, value to be 0. Similarly, the other one is leaf to be 1 and value to be 0. The other one is leaf 1, value will be 1, and the bottom right also. So is leaf 1 and value will be 1. So that is the entire idea on how it is going to work. So even though, right, this problem might sound very tricky, but with the help of recursion and divide and conquer, you can easily solve this problem. So you will have to keep on doing division, right, until we find a subgrade which is containing all the values to be same. In case it's not, then we are going to do again, keep on dividing it up. So that's the entire idea. So that's the basic idea. Now let us jump to the Python code where we are going to code it up, and once you see the code, you are going to understand how simple this entire thing is. So the first thing that we are going to do, right, we can create a function which is going to handle our division or divide and conquer. So it would be build node, and I'm going to pass in the 4 sides basically. So in the sub matrices, right, or in the subgrade, right, what would be the x1, x2, and y1, y2? So it would be x1, y1, x2, and y2. Now before that, right, we also have to check, right, we got this sub grid, right? So there, if you remember, right, I was saying that we have to check if all the values are same or not. So to check that, right, I'm going to check the first value. So it would be grid x1 and y1, and here I'm going to say, let's say, all same, to flag basically all same, which is going to be true. Now I'm going to loop it up. So for I in range x1 to x2 plus 1, and for j in range y1 to y2 plus 1. And now I'm going to check if grid of I and j, in case it's not equal to the first value, then I can say, or I can remove the flag all same to be false, and I can break the loop. Once that is done, right, now in case if all the values are same, so I can do, or I can say, I can return the node, and here I can pass in the current value, which is going to be the first value because all of them are same. So first val, and here in isLeaf I'm going to say true, because we remember, right, if all the values are same in that subgrade, then we can say it's a leaf node. Once that is done, right, so we're going to get the matrix. But what if all the values are not same? So in that case, right, we have to split this entire grid into 4 parts. To do that, I can say mid x equal to x1 plus x2, and here we're going to do integer division, so we don't need a floating point, otherwise we cannot loop through this entire range. So for that we require it, and it would be y1 plus y2 double divided by 2, and I can say return node value. I can give any value for now. I can give 0, it doesn't matter. So is leaf initially, right? If it's, because here you are splitting it into 4 parts, right? So is leaf is going to be false. Top left is going to be to pass in the function build node and the parameters, right? So top left would be starting from x1 and y1, but unlike the last time, right, where x2 and y2, it would be mid x and mid y. Don't forget to give the commas. Top right is going to be build node x1 mid y plus 1 mid x and y2. Bottom left equal to build node mid x plus 1 y1 x2 and mid y, and bottom right would be build node mid x plus 1 mid y. And here, right, why I'm giving it, I hope you're able to understand, right? Because you have to give the starting point, right? So let's say on the topmost, right, what would be the first value and the end value? So in this way we're going to give, so that it can loop through that entire one. So mid x plus 1 and mid y plus 1, and it would be x2 and y2. Once that is done, right, we can call, or we can return and call the function build node, and we can pass in 0 and 0, length of grid -1, length of grid -1. So that's the entire code. Let me run it. I hope I've not made any spelling errors, because if I did, it would be hard to find out. Yeah, I made one error. I could see it would be x1 plus y2. Always the chances of making a mistake, right, is in this 4. So the values that you're passing, right, the way you divide this entire grid into 4 parts, right, is going to be very, very essential. So you need to check this one, and this is where most mistakes happen. So it is running the public test cases. Let me submit the code. As you could see, code got submitted. Let me run it again. It is showing biting 28.24. It should be way higher. As you could see, it is 71.98, and the time complexity would be big of n square. So that would be the time complexity. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.